Hi, 4th graders. Welcome to Unit 3, Lesson 17. Throughout this lesson, I'll be showing you how we subtract from thousands. So numbers that go into the thousands place. I have an example problem for you right away. This problem is 4,000 minus 2,345. To get us started, I notice that I already do not have enough ones to subtract. I cannot do 0 minus 5. So that means I would normally have to borrow from the tens place. But again, there's no tens to borrow from yet, and nor are there any hundreds. So I have to go all the way to the thousands place to borrow. First, I'm going to show you this visually. Remember, a while back, we had our place value drawings where we used these long rectangles to show thousands. So right now, I have 4 of those rectangles or 4 of those bars because I have 4,000. So first thing I'm going to do is break down one of those 1,000 bars into 10 hundreds. Now remember that there are 100 little dots in each of these boxes that I'm drawing now. And if there's 100 of those ones in each box, and I have 10 of those boxes, 100 times 10 is 1,000. So here you can see why 10 of these boxes also equals 1,000. Now, I didn't just need to borrow hundreds. I need to still get to the ones place, so I'm going to have to break down, I'll use a different color to do so, one of these 100 boxes into 10 sticks. And remember that each of these 10 sticks have 10 little ones inside of them. And because I have 10 of them, 10 times 10 equals 100. So again, I'm showing you why these 10 sticks drawn out with 10 of them equals another way to represent 100. Now I'm almost ready. Now I have to borrow from the 10 sticks to get enough ones in order to do my subtraction. So now I have 10 ones that I can finally work with. So this became 10 ones after borrowing. Keep in mind that I had to take one of those 10 sticks here, so now there's only 9 of those left. Also keep in mind that I had to break down one of the hundreds boxes, so now there's only 9 left of those. And it all started when I broke down one of my 1,000 bars, so now there's only 3 of those left. So now I can go ahead and subtract. 10 minus 5 gives me 5. 9 minus 4 gives me 5. 9 minus 3, 6. And 3 minus 2, 1. So final answer here is 1,655. On this slide, I have some more examples that I want to show you before I let you try it on your own. So this example says 3,000 minus 1,492. Right away, I see that I'm going to need to borrow. As you can see here, I don't have enough ones to subtract 0 minus 2. I also don't have any tens, and I don't have any hundreds to borrow from. So right away, I know I'm going to have to go into the thousands place. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to borrow from the thousands place, which will give me 10 hundreds, but remember, I'm going to have to take one of those hundreds away because I still need tens. And I'm borrowing from that group of tens, so I'm going to get 10 ones finally. So just like I showed you on the previous problem, you get the 10 ones because you borrowed from the tens, you borrowed from the hundreds, and then you actually borrowed from the thousands. So now I can go ahead and subtract. 10 minus 2 gives me 8. 9 minus 9 gives me 0. 9 minus 4 gives me 5. And 2 minus 1 gives me 1. So I have 1,508. My next example is just a random thousand number. It's not just 3,000 or 2,000, but it has some hundreds, tens, and ones to start. So this is 2,782 minus 1,986. To start this one, I notice right away I cannot do 2 minus 6, so I have to borrow from the tens. So instead of having 8 tens, I've now broken down one, so there's only 7 tens left. Then, because I originally have 2 ones and I'm adding 10 to it, I end up with 12 ones here. So now I can subtract the ones place. 12 minus 6 gives me 6. Now I cannot do 7 minus 8, so I'm going to have to borrow from the hundreds, which means instead of having 7 hundreds, I'm only going to have 6 hundreds. But now I've borrowed 10 of these 10s, so I add them back to my 7 that are here. So remember, that's like having 7 10 sticks hanging out here right now, and then I've just borrowed 10 more. So now I have 17 here. So now I can do 17 minus 8, which gives me 9. And now I go on to the hundreds place. I have to borrow again. I can't do 6 minus 9 hundreds. So I borrow from the thousands place, which then becomes only a 1 because I've borrowed 1,000. And then remember, that's like adding a whole nother set. So that's 16 now. If you think about it, that's like having 6 of those hundreds boxes that were hanging out, and then I added 10 more hundreds boxes, so then 10 plus 6 gave me that 16. So 16 minus 9 gives me 7, and then 1 minus 1 is 0, so there's no more thousands left, so my final answer then is 796. Now we have a word problem to try. This one says, the Empire State Building in New York City is 1,250 feet tall, and the Eiffel Tower in Paris is 984 feet tall. What is their difference in height? Keyword here is the word difference. Difference means I'm going to have to subtract to find the difference or to find that gap between the two heights. So I'm going to set this up. Remember, you do the larger number on top, which in this case is the Empire State Building at 1,250 feet tall. And then I'll be subtracting, remember, difference, 984, which is the height of the Eiffel Tower. So right away, I'm going to have to borrow. I can't do 0 minus 4. So I'm going to borrow from the 10s. So now there's only 4 left. There weren't any 1s to begin with, so that just becomes then a group of 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. Now, in the tens place, I cannot do 4 minus 8, so I borrow from the hundreds. That becomes 1, and this now becomes a group of 14 tens. 14 minus 8 gives me 6. I cannot do 1 minus 9, so I borrow that 1,000. I have to break down that 1,000 bar, so then I have 11 here. Remember, you add it back to whatever was there in the beginning. So 11 minus 9 is 2. So their difference in height would be 266 feet. We've made it to our ticket slide, so now it's your turn to shine, 4th graders. Your first problem today is a regular problem without any words. You just have to solve, and it's 8,302 minus 2,578. Show your work as you solve. Then, for question number 2, you have a word problem. This one reads, 1,578 seashells were collected on Madeira Beach. Originally, there were 3,524. How many shells are left on the beach? So go ahead and show your work when you solve this word problem as well. Good luck.